Today we have an amazing topic, software re-engineering. All may familiar with the term software engineering, but this is little bit different, right? Software re-engineering. Today we are going to see what this software re-engineering is and its details. Software re-engineering methodology, mainly three types. Three methodologies are there for software re-engineering: reverse engineering, restructuring, and forward engineering. First, reverse engineering. Reverse engineering is actually is a back engineering process opposite to software engineering. In software engineering, we are start with the user requirements and with the product. Here the process is little bit different. It's a reverse process. We are starting with a product, ends with its details. So can be named as reverse engineering. It's a process by which a man-made object is deconstructed to reveal its design, architecture, or to extract knowledge from the object. Reverse engineering can extract design information from the source code, but these details are little bit variable, highly variable in software reverse engineering, because from design we will get the details of a product, but the degree of abstraction level, the completeness of the documentation, the degree to which the tools and humans are interacted each others, and the directionality of the process, these things may not be that much clear. So we are thinking about this unclear things first. What are the things that is not that much common in reverse engineering? First one is the abstraction level. Abstraction level means uh, the degree to which the product is readable. The reverse engineering process actually should reveal all the details about a product by reverse engineering. So the abstraction level should be very high. The details like procedural design representation, program and data structures, object models, data and control flow models, ER models, these things should be capable of deriving in reverse engineering. That is, a reverse engineering process should capable of deriving all those details. Then only it have higher abstraction level, we will say. As the abstraction level increases, the details of the product revealed through reverse engineering is also high. Second is completeness. Completeness of the documentation, which means through reverse engineering, we should reveal all the complete documentation of the product. Third is the interactivity. Interactivity means the degree to which the tools and humans are interacted or integrated each other. In most cases, as the abstraction level increases, the interactivity must be increased, but the completeness will suffer. And the last one is the directionality of the process. Directionality means the process can be of one dimension, one way or two way. One way in the sense the process is created in a single process. In that process, or in such a, if in that directionality, all information extracted from the source code is provided to the software engineers, who can then use it during any maintenance activity. But in the case of two way, this information revealed through reverse engineering is given to a re-engineering tool, and the tool attempt to restructure the old program. That's the directionality of the process indicates. So these are the details any reverse engineering process should reveal. Next, we are moving on to the reverse engineering process. Exactly what the process is. The process will looks like this. we will start from a dirty source code. Source code in the sense reverse engineering, here we will reveal the concept from the product itself. So at the beginning we will have a dirty source code. What we will do is we will do some processing on the code or restructuring the code. We will get a much more clear source code. That's the first action, restructuring the code. We will get a clean source code. From the clean source code we will extract some abstractions, and from that abstraction we will have the initial specification of the product. Then we will refine and simplify that specification. Finally we will have a solid specialization of the or the specification of the product. So that's the exact reverse engineering processes. So through reverse engineering we will try to extract some abstractions. So we will see what is that abstraction is. Before the re-engineering activity, as I said before, we will do some restructure the code. That things is explained here. We will do some restructuring. We will remove some unstructured data or source code. We will make some structure. Why? Because a program source code should have a structure. Then only it will be easy for the subsequent reverse engineering activity. So that we will do the restructuring. Then we will give that structured code to the extract abstraction phase. Extract abstraction phase, or this abstract extraction, is actually the core concept of reverse engineering. So reverse engineering is actually to understand data and to understand processing and to understand the user interface of a product. If we have these three understanding, we will have a better information about the product, how the product is, how it is designed, how it is developed, what is the core data of this. All those information we will have after extracting these three abstractions. So we will see next what is these three abstractions. First abstraction is the understanding data. Reverse engineering to understand it. This is the first re-engineering task, and it also occurs at the different levels of abstraction. The two major abstractions are program level abstraction and system level data abstraction. Program level re-engineering means here the internal program data structure must often be reverse engineered as part of an overall re-engineering effort. So here the internal program data structures are analyzed. Second is global data structure analysis phase, that is a system level. In this too, what we are doing is this reverse engineering activity. From the internal data structure, we will focus on the definition of classes and objects. From the internal data structure, the reverse engineering activity tries to discover what are the classes or what are the objects in this product. By getting that information, we will have an abstract data type structure. That's our major aim of this internal data structure analysis. From the product we will analyze this internal data structure. After this we will have some collection of objects. That objects may be record structures, files, list, or other data structures often provide an initial indicator of class. So once we have a classes of objects, our remaining phases will be easy. The database structure is actually the global database, global system level abstraction. System level details regardless of its logical organization and physical structure. So the database allows definition of data objects and supports some other methods of establishing relationship among objects. Therefore, the re-engineering one database schema into another requires an understanding of existing object and their relationship. Here the database itself, the global data structure itself be analyzed. Global data structure here means the database. That's the second level of understanding in data. And next is steps to define the existing data model. How we can uh, define a data model from the reverse engineering activity. This step is performed before creating a new database model in reverse re-engineering. Steps are, we have to build an object model first. Second step is identify the candidate key in the object model. Candidate key here means that it's any pointer in a record or table that becomes the candidate key. Third step is refine the tentative class. Tentative class here means the temporary classes. From this information, we have to define some classes that named as tentative class. Fourth step is define some generalization. From the identified tentative classes, we are formulating some generalizations. Then next step is discover association from this generalization. In this step, we are analyzing the CRC or using the CRC approach. CRC approach, class relation collaborations card, CRC card. CRC card concepts itself here we are revealing to understand the generalization of the classes identified. And by performing these steps, we will have a general idea about what is the data structure of the pre-existing product. From that information, we are going to design or refine the database of the product. So these steps are the precursors to re-engineering a new database model. After getting this, we will do some series of transformations on this, and from the old database structure, we will map a new database structure. That is the reverse engineering activity to understand data. Next is reverse engineering to understand processing. Here the processing means that it will begins with an attempt to understand and then extract procedural abstractions represented by the source code. Procedural abstraction here means the system, programs, components, patterns and statements in the product. After getting this information, we will have the idea about the logic of the product. That's the second step of reverse engineering means. And this is not that much easy step. Here we have to analyze the entire views of the product to get the information and processing. So this is actually the logic of that product. Here we will use some block diagrams to represents that processing, and here the component level details we will identify. After getting the component level details, we will analyze each component, their internal processing and how the components interact each other. These all things we will collect and prepare an overview. For large systems, reverse engineering is generally accomplished using semi-automated approaches, and some automation tools are also be available for this. And output of this process is then passed to restructuring and then to forward engineering. Then only the re-engineering process will become finished. So that's about the reverse engineering for processing. Third is third abstraction level is reverse engineering for user interfaces. This is actually the most common type of re-engineering activity. But before a user interface can be rebuilt, reverse engineering should occur. Then only it will be success. To fully understand an existing user interface, the structure and the behavior of the interface must be specified. And here this is not that much easy, as I said before. Here what we will do is we will ask some questions, and after getting the answers for that question, we will redesign the user interface. The questions are, we will identify what are the basic actions in the current user interface. Actions in the sense key presses, mouse clicks. Identify each actions. Second step is we will identify what are the responses for each of these actions. Responses means how the user interface will respond if a button click happens. The third question is we will identify what is meant by a replacement, or more precisely what concept of equivalence of interfaces is relevant here. Equivalent for the current user interface we will identify. After getting these three answers, we will try to develop a new user interface or reverse engineer the user interface. Here we will identify some behavioral modeling notations also. Behavioral modeling notation means to represents the association of the identified user interfaces. We will apply some behavioral modeling tools also. So these three are the basic reverse engineering um abstractions. After getting these three understanding of current application, we can start the next phase of re-engineering, that is restructuring. So second re-engineering activity is restructuring. Here the restructuring word means organize differently. Its goal is to increase the maintainability, to make the product's maintainability high. We are applying restructuring activity. This is mainly applied to add some additional functionality to the current application. And this is actually, this restructuring process modifies the source code and data, and it doesn't modify the overall program structure, but design of individual modules and on local data structure defined within the module. Here the focus is on these two. Code restructuring is to yield a design that produces the same function but with a higher quality. Here the main aim of restructuring is to redesign the concept and get some restructured code, restructured data that should have higher quality level. The process of code restructuring is, first step is we are creating some Boolean algebra expression equivalent to the program logic. The program logic is modeled to a Boolean algebra expression through series of transformations. Second step is we will draw the resource exchange diagram. Resource exchange diagram will have data types, procedures and variables shared between modules. From the current code, we will do these steps. First step is the program logic is modeled to a Boolean algebra expression, and we are applying some transformations on the Boolean algebra expressions. Then we will represent the identified Boolean algebra expression in a resource exchange diagram. And third step is restructure the program architecture to minimize module coupling. After performing this code restructuring, our spaghetti bowl code have a precise structure that this diagram shows. After code restructuring, it should have a structure. It will get a structure. Second restructuring process is data restructuring. Data restructuring have 5 steps. Source code is analyzed, data is redesigned, third is data record standardization, fourth is data name rationalization, fifth is file or database translation. Data analysis means the programming language statements are evaluated, and the aim of this step is to extract data items and objects, to get information on data flow, to understand the existing data structure. So these are the data restructuring process ideas. The third step is, or third activity of re-engineering is forward engineering. Forward engineering is the method of creating or making an application with the help of given requirement. This is actually the process indicates actual the renovation or reclamation. Renovation means we are recreating something. Forward engineering is actually is very important in IT because it represents a normal development process. For example, building from a model into an implementation language. And this is related to the term reverse engineering also. There is actually opposite to forward engineering. Forward engineering have, I think, better definition is this: recreating an existing application. It is not just simply creating a modern equivalent of an older application or program. Rather, some new users has to be introduced to the existing application, or some technology requirements has to be changed in the previous application. We can go for forward engineering. It's actually redevelopment or redesign the older application. This picture, I think, it have some diagrammatic representation of forward engineering versus reverse engineering. Hope all will understand it better. Forward engineering can be viewed in a two ways or two common examples, I can say. Forward engineering for a client server application is a better example to understand the concept. For example, many mainframe applications have been re-engineered to accommodate client-server architecture, including web apps. Because previously there is only mainframe applications, now the client-server applications are very common. So, how the forward engineering can be applied to such an instance? That is diagrammatically, or that is explained here. Client server application all knows there are so many clients and a server application. There is a request response model. A typical mainframe application that is re-engineered into a client server application has the following features. Application functionality migrates to each client computer. New GUI interfaces are implemented at the client sites. Database functions are allocated to the server. Specialized functionality may remain at the server side. New communication, security, or archiving and control requirements must be established at both the client and server sides. These are the requirements. So the re-engineering for client server application begins with a thorough analysis of the business environment of the mainframe. After identifying that, we have consolidated a three layers of abstraction in forward engineering: database foundation layer, business rules layer, and client application layer. These are the three layers of a client server application identified. The database layer means the exact core database of the mainframe is transforming to a client server model. That we should understand. The database of a mainframe has to be distributed to a client server application. So the client server database should be re-engineered and should be distributed some part of the database to the client side and some to the server side. That is explained here. The business rules layer means business rules of the mainframe. That is, the software performs some control and coordination tasks to ensure that the transactions and queries between the client application and the database conforms to the established business process. The client application layer implements business functions that are required by a specific group of end users. In many instances, mainframe application is segmented into number of smaller re-engineered desktop application. The communication among the desktop application is controlled by the business layer. Second example is forward engineering for object-oriented architecture. Older applications may not be in the form of an object-oriented concepts. That has to be forward engineered to object-oriented form. First, the existing software is reverse engineered so that the appropriate data, functional and behavioral models can be created. And the re-engineered system, if it is a re-engineered system, we can construct the use cases. The data models created during reverse engineering are then used in the conjunction with the CRS to identify classes here. Class hierarchies, object-oriented relationship models, object behavioral models and subsystems are defined, and we will construct object-oriented design commences. Then the object-oriented forward engineering progresses from analysis to design. A component-based software engineering process model can be invoked. If the existing application resides within a domain that is already populated by many object-oriented applications, it's likely that a robust component library exists and can be used during forward engineering. And this is actually if the application is not in the form of object oriented, we have to identify objects and its object concepts first from the existing application and convert that to an object oriented form. So that's about the reverse re-engineering activities. After establishing such activities, we should know how this re-engineering is required or not after analyzing its economics. Economics of re-engineering means how effective or how useful the re-engineering is and how much it will cost. That's the best question. To answer that question, we have some estimates, a cost benefit analysis model for re-engineering activity. This includes 9 parameters P1 to P9 and an extra parameter L indicates expected life of the system. These parameters, with the help of these parameters, we will analyze the cost benefit of re-engineering. There are three measures we can identify. First is the cost associated with the continuing maintenance of a candidate application without re-engineering. It can be formulated as cost of maintenance is equal to P3 minus P1 plus P2 into L. Here P3 means the cost of, in previous slide we can formulate as P3 as the current annual business value of an application. Current annual business value of an application minus current annual maintenance cost of the application plus current annual operation cost of an application into this expected life of the system, that is cost of maintenance. Second measure is cost of re-engineering. Cost of re-engineering means what is the exact cost of applying re-engineering in an organization or in a product. That can be formulated as P6 minus P4 plus P5 into L minus P8 minus P7 into P9. Here P6 is predicated annual business value after re-engineering minus predicted annual maintenance cost after re-engineering plus predicted annual operation cost after maintenance into expected life of the system minus re-engineering calendar time, estimated re-engineering calendar time minus estimated re-engineering cost into a re-engineering risk factor. After getting that to measure, we can have the cost benefit of re-engineering equal to cost of re-engineering minus cost of maintenance. So we have a measurement whether this re-engineering is cost or cost benefit or not. So after measuring this, companies will decide whether to go for re-engineering or constructing a new product from the current details. So that's about re-engineering. Re-engineering is actually a series of three activities: reverse engineering, restructuring and forward engineering. These three or any of the three company will apply in the name of re-engineering. Okay then, hope you all understood well. Thank you.